Alrighty, welcome back fellas. Before we go into the 10th anniversary, I want to go ahead and reflect on all of the major releases of 2024. So today, we're going to have a bit of a fun low-key vid because I'm going to go ahead and rank all of these releases based on my personal favorites. Now, of course, this is going to be very different from my usual type of tier list, so because of that, I've decided to change up the format, make it a bit more fun. Obviously, there will be a lot of personal biases within this, so because of that, I want you guys to join in on the fun as well. Let your biases out, and comment down below who is your favorite release from 2024. It doesn't matter how good or bad they are. Let me know who that unit is for you. Now let's go ahead and get started. So we'll go ahead and talk about each unit as we kind of progress through this list because there is a lot of units right here. I think at least like 30 or something. But let's go ahead. So we'll start it with Dokkan Fest Broly, right? Part 2 Worldwide Celebration Campaign. And for me, Dokkan Fest Broly is in the nice tier. I mean, he's okay. I've enjoyed using him here and there. I don't have a copy of him, but he's nice. The problem for him though is that for me, I just don't like him as much as other units on the list, that's one thing. But also, I mean, there are many times where I'll try to use Broly because I don't have a copy of my own. I'll try to make him the center of the show, or I'll try to make him like cook and everything, and he's not doing what I want him to do. And yet he can still do a lot of nice things, just not to the level that I want him to be capable of. So that really does kind of frustrate me for a bit. And even though he's fun, he's still nice and good and everything, he's just not that good like I want him to be. He's not as fun as I would like him to be. And those things really kind of prevent me from putting him any higher. So for him, I think nice and good is perfect there. Next we got Glorio, and let me go ahead and take Diamond Goku as well. Both of them are going in the I love them tier. I love these two so much. I'm a big fan of Daima as far as the show is concerned, so to finally get these units, you know, to finally get actual summonable Daima characters in the game is a chef's kiss. And these two, the devs coached with these two because their animations are so clean, their OSTs are bangers, especially Glorio's intro. I mean, I love Glorio's intro. I mean, but all of the OSTs are fantastic. You know, the kits are fantastic as well. I don't have Diamond Goku, sadly, but I do have a copy of Glorio, and he's so dynamic, he's so impactful on the teams that he can play on. I just have a great big joy for using these units whenever I can, so I do love these units so much. Cell Max, okay, so Cell Max, I'm not gonna lie, he's gonna go into the nice tier for me. I mean, I'm not that high on Cell Max. Cell Max is a nice character. He does a lot of Oonga Boonga damage, which I respect, and he's actually pretty fun at times, but there are other times in game where he is pretty frustrating for me, where I try to make him cook, and then he ends up being the one who gets cooked, and I'm like, what just happened? And it's just like after restart runs with him sometimes, and it does get frustrating. So I understand how good he can be. I understand how good he sometimes is for me, but also those other things kind of prevent me from really enjoying him because other times he just gets cooked, and it just pisses me off. Also, the other thing I will say is that for Cell Max as a character, I was never really high on Cell Max in the superhero movie. Obviously, you know, Beast Gohan is Beast Gohan, the others are pretty cool, but Cell Max, I'm like, okay, he's just a basic antagonist, you know, doing his thing, and that's it. So Cell Max not really having a personality, those things, and the actual character and everything, that does kind of hold him back for me. And Cell Max, you know, just having those other frustrations in game just kind of keep him there in this position for me, even though he is pretty fun at other times with the taunt and everything. Alrighty, Gotenks. Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna put him in the good tier as well. We have a lot of good tier units right here. And for Gotenks, I mean, I think it's the same thing as Cell Max, where I've never been the biggest Gotenks fan, I'm gonna be honest. I've always thought Gotenks is very annoying, and to be fair, I think that's the character's design, is to be a bit of a brat and everything. But at the same time, I think it's just too much for me, so that's one thing that kind of holds me back. Also, you know, we were kind of expecting a Carnival LR in his place. You know, a lot of ideas were Super Vegeta or Kid Buu or something. Neither of those happened. Instead, we got Gotenks. So on one hand, you're like, okay, that's fine, but on the other hand, you know, Gotenks exists as a reminder for me, like, we could have had LR Kid Buu by now, and they decided not to do that yet. So we don't know when that will happen, if it will happen, and Gotenks kind of pisses me off because I'm reminded of that. But also, I mean, when we talk about the actual unit, you know, Gotenks is still fun. He still has a lot of potential. There are a lot of criticisms about him, especially when it comes to his, like, 50-50 chance, I guess, in terms of being able to tank versus not being able to tank. I do have to agree with those sentiments because it's happened to me a few times with a friend Gotenks. But yeah, I mean, he's still nice, he's still fun at moments, and he can do a lot of damage and work in a really fun team with Majin Buu Saga specifically, so I love all of those things about Gotenks, so I'll keep him in the good tier right here, as opposed to bumping him up or bumping him down. 9th Anniversary Broly, this is going to be maybe a bit of a shocker for some people, but I'm actually going to put him in the good tier as well. Now, this is not meant to hate on Broly. In fact, if I had to put this like in terms of order kind of system right here, he'd be like at the front of this list, because Broly, his animations are some of the cleanest animations I think throughout this entire year, which is saying a lot because a lot of the animations are really fantastic. But also his OSTs are so good, you know, his design, his moments are so great. Of course, you know, finally getting a 9th anniversary, you know, an Extreme Broly, that is peak, of course. But for me, the problems with Broly come in terms of the teams he has been working with, you know, all those other sorts of issues, because Broly with the domain, or, you know, with the issues of the domain rather, he's not able to be used at his full potential a lot of times. You know, I don't have a copy of Broly sadly, so I can't use him as often as I would like. A lot of people don't really like enjoy using Broly, and I can see why, because there are times where Broly just, you know, doesn't work because the teams that you want to run him with, there are other better units who can take his position at this point in time. So those things do kind of ruin the fun for me with him. You know, he still has a lot of nice things about him. It's just I can't use him as much as I would like to, and that kind of detracts the fun for me because I don't feel enticed to use him, because there's no repayment kind of reward system when it comes to him for me as much as some of the other characters. All right, Rose. Rose, I think a lot of people will agree. Like, for me, I'm gonna put him at fine, but want him more. The character is totally badass. Like, Rose is so cool, of course. I'm happy we got a Dokkan Fest Rose, of course. You know, he's got some nice potential and everything, but in terms of what he's capable of, or rather what he's not capable of, I just wanted more from him in terms of his skill set, in terms of his unit, because I mean, let's be honest, a lot of people throw shade at Rose being just such a trash, you know, unit, and I kind of understand where they're coming from in terms of 2024, because compared to a lot of these other characters, he had a lot of potential leading super bosses, a fantastic category, you know, leading a lot of great units like, for example, the 9th anniversary Broly, like Cell Max and others, and yet you don't want to run him practically at all in almost any team that you can, and that's really kind of upsetting. One of the few teams I would probably say you want to run Rose, if anything, is Future Saga, and no one really runs Future Saga at this point, so that is obviously kind of like saying a point right there. But yeah, I mean, Rose, if he could do more in terms of being a defensive tank, in terms of being self-reliant without needing orbs and everything, I would be happier with this unit. But, you know, those things, the fact that you don't want to run him on his own teams, I mean, those things really do kind of piss me off about Rose, and they do really frustrate me and disappoint me when it comes to Rose. I wish he was better, but it is what it is. He'll just stick in the fine tier for me, because I think that's the perfect way to describe him, in my opinion. The Gammas, okay, I'm going to probably get a lot of flack for this, but the Gammas I'm going to go ahead and put in the nice/good category, because I'm not going to lie, so I like the Gammas. I really do like the Gammas from the movie. I like the moments they chose for the Gammas in the 9th anniversary unit, but at the same time, I'm not as high on the Gammas because I just don't think their kit is as fun as a lot of other characters in this game during the last year. I just don't think their kit is as fun. They have a lot of damage reduction, they have a lot of capabilities, a lot of support, but also you need to get orbs, you need to do certain things with them. Those things require me to pay attention, and like also like it's not that difficult, but at the same time, it's damage reduction. It's not something as fun as, like, for example, like, you know, providing support, you know, like Lorio does with his, like, slot 3 and everything. It's not as fun as, like, what Daima Goku can do with, like, the dodging and all that other, like, fun stuff that he is capable of. So I mean, for me, the Gammas, they have a lot of fun stuff. You know, I respect who they are, and I respect the moments. You know, again, it's really heart-wrenching to see the Gamma 2 sacrifice in game and everything, but I just can't put them any higher. I think I just don't love them that much compared to a lot of the other units, especially because I don't use them that often. I don't have a copy of them, and even if I did, I can say with all certainty I would probably not use them that often, because Superheroes doesn't really need them, and also, like, you really don't run a lot of the other teams, I feel like, because they don't belong on Super Saiyans. You know, you could use maybe them on movie heroes, but I prefer, like, Majin Buu Saga, Tournament of Power, all those other categories. So I think those things kind of hold back the Gammas for me, but they're still in the good tier. I think it's perfectly fine there. Universe Tree Power, like survival, you know, like the Super Dragon Ball hero Goku right here, he's gonna go in the fine but wanted more category for me. I'm not gonna lie, I was hoping we would get an LR Super Dragon Ball hero unit, and this was heavily disappointing for me. Goku's still very fun, he's very cool and everything, you know, his stats are a bit disappointing, so that kind of frustrates me whenever I have to use him. But at the same time, like, if he was an LR, if he had more animations, if he was just better, I think I would probably jump him all the way from fine right here to I love him, because he has the potential, and yet he isn't able to access that potential. I mean, think about it. His active skill, right? He's only a TOR, right? But his active skill includes Super Saiyan 4 Goku. We don't see Super Saiyan 4 Goku mentioned anywhere in his kit directly. We don't see any sort of unit super potentially with Super Saiyan 4 Goku. That, like, there's no connection with him at all, and it is just disappointing in that sort of regard, because imagine what they could have done if they did that. So those things kind of exist in my mind, and it does suck, because this is basically the final kind of like Super Dragon Ball hero unit that we can look forward to for the future of the game. So yeah, it does suck. I wish there was more, but it is what it is. He's still alright, he's still fun, and he still has some cool moments, of course, we know, with the animations and everything. So I enjoyed the unit here and there, just not as much as a lot of the other units on this list. Ultimate Gohan. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna put him in the meh category. I'm not an Ultimate Gohan hater, but this unit might have convinced me to become a hater at some point in time, because this unit, like, for part 2 of the Golden Week celebration, again, you know, similar to like Gotenks right here, I was thinking there may be a chance we get LR Kid Buu, and then Gohan shows up, and I'm like, okay, whatever, like, fine, I guess we'll get an Ultimate Gohan once again. And it was just, I was not excited for this unit. Like, it is what it is. Gohan is like cool in Majin Buu Saga. Of course, he has one of his greater moments, but yeah, I mean, this unit, he's not that fun to use. I actually try to avoid using him as much as possible in Majin Buu Saga teams. And yeah, yeah, like, you can tell I'm like struggling to describe this unit, because there's not many good things that I can say about him without like having to think about what bothers me so much because of the restrictions, all these different things about Gohan, the fact he's not even that good on his own desired category with Majin Buu Saga. All those things kind of ruin him for me, and he's not exactly that hype for me either, so yeah, meh. I think meh is perfectly fine there. Speaking of meh, Captain Ginyu. Shout out to all the Captain Ginyu fans. I am not a Ginyu hater. I actually respect Ginyu, and I actually like Ginyu in the show, but Ginyu, like, it's like a similar kind of understanding to like some other units I'll talk about in probably like the future, but like, I understood that he was a part 2 LR before the Golden Week celebration, so he was just like a throwaway kind of unit, just like, hey, here you go, here's some more special pose boosts before we go into another kind of boost right here. So I'm like, fine, whatever. So I think that being in my mind ruined the fun of Ginyu at the time. And nowadays, like, I'd probably be hard-pressed to talk about how many people I know who even think about Ginyu or talk about using Ginyu in any of their teams, because you don't really need to use Ginyu in special pose. You can use a lot of other kind of more fun teams. Ginyu is still nice here and there, but yeah, I wouldn't really like sing Ginyu's praises, because it's just like whatever to me. Like, Ginyu's like a whatever kind of unit. Alright, Jiren. Jiren, I love Jiren so much. He is such a fun unit. Speaking of other fun units, let's just go ahead and kind of go through these guys. Tech UI Goku, Beast Gohan, Family Kamehameha Gohan. These guys are like in a set right here. And 9th Anniversary Gogeta. Let's just talk about all of these guys. Jiren. Such a fun but very simple unit in terms of his design, but he is so fun. He's probably one of the most fun units I have had throughout this entire year, and that says a lot, because he's not the best unit at all, but he's still so fun to use with Universe 11, Tournament of Power. He is just such a fun unit to just take with Unga Boonga damage, you know, that standby and everything. He's just been so fun, of course. Tech UI Goku, I love this unit so much. You know, just what he has to offer, being able to support, being able to tank, dodge, all that stuff. You know, obviously he's not the best unit either, but also when he goes into MUI, the counters are so sick. The animations are so sick. That OST being as majestic as it is, I absolutely love it. And Tech UI, I can't sing his praises enough. I'm pretty sure I'm like one of, if not the biggest glazers of Tech UI and like the Dokkan community, and I'm gonna stand on it. I love Tech UI that much. Beast Gohan, come on, we already know Beast Gohan. He's got so much to offer. He's such a fun unit ever since he was released, and what really makes him so special for me is the stakes behind him, because think about it, you know, for the end of 2022, we had the New Year's banner and everything with Beast-less Gohan, and everyone was so pissed off because everyone was saying, you know, we wanted Beast, they were teasing Beast, and we still did not get Beast Gohan. We've been waiting for such a long time, and now we get Beast Gohan, and not only is he Beast Gohan standalone, he is a damn good unit. One of, if not the best units in the game, and he's still standing in the test of time since he released back in February or something, so he is such a fun unit. He does so much for his teams. He's been a blast, of course, and obviously there are a lot of other kind of units, like Glorio, for example, who support Beast, make him better. But, I mean, Beast on his own, he is so fun. Now, I don't think I like him as much as some of the other units, like, for example, Glorio or Daimagoku or Tech UI and Jiren, but he's still a very fun unit. I do appreciate him for what it is. The stakes really add to his value for me, and he's still, you know, powerful, so I do love what he is capable of. Family Kamehameha Gohan, kind of a similar boat to Beast, but not in the same way, obviously. But Family Kamehameha Gohan, I love his animations, particularly with the whole standby. Obviously, that's like the peak of animations for me with the Family Kamehameha. But the OSTs are so good. You guys have heard me use his OSTs in various videos because I love the OSTs really that much. I mean, and Family Kamehameha Gohan, even though I don't have him, he is a very fun unit to use on a lot of teams. And I can't stress enough how much I love units who are able to be used in different teams with no repercussions. And, you know, Family Kamehameha Gohan, he fits that pretty well, I would say. So because of that, I just love that unit so much. I wish I had him. But if I had him, like, I would be going crazy. I would be like destroying everything, you know, 10 times over, because I just love what this, I just love the damage, I just love everything about this unit. Gosh, I can't even talk because that unit has got me going crazy. So yeah, Family Kamehameha Gohan, can't sing his praises enough. 9th anniversary Gogeta, I mean, I think I've said it before in some of my previous vids, but you cannot spell Gogeta without throwing the word in that is GOAT. And I think I said that wrong, but you know what I was trying to say. You can't spell Gogeta without spelling GOAT. And yeah, Gogeta, he's just so awesome. He's him. Like, he's him. I wish he was better. I'm not gonna lie, but, you know, he was part 1 9th anniversary, and there's a reason why. It's because you knew Gogeta was gonna draw on people, and he is still such a fun unit, especially with all the recent buffs and everything. It's like Super Saiyans and all that stuff. He's been so fun to use with movie heroes and everything, so, you know, I think he's gotten better with time, actually, which is something really crazy. But yeah, I really enjoy this unit. I'm so happy to have him. He's just been a blast. I think I just kicked my chair or something, so that's kind of worrisome. But yeah, Gogeta, I mean, he's just a fantastic fun unit. Alright, Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Goku for me is going to go into the nice/good tier. I'm not going to lie, I really do enjoy this Goku. In fact, I may put him a bit higher on this list in terms of ordering it, even though this is not ordered at all. But I do like him. It's just, for me, I don't like his OSTs. Let me just say that. His OSTs are okay, but like, I'm not replaying them. If I had to choose, I am not going to come back and listen to his OSTs again and again and again. So that kind of ruins it for me, because I think about that unit, I'm like, oh, he's such a cool moment. And yeah, his OSTs are not that hype for me. And then also, like, his animations are not that great to me compared to some of the other units. So because of that, I'm like, eh. But, you know, Goku's still so powerful, so fun. On the right teams especially, he can go crazy. So I can't really hate on him. It's just like, he's really fun to use. It's just not a unit that I would love to use all the time in that sort of regard. I think that's the best way to kind of describe him specifically. So I'll kind of keep him in this position right there. Alright, another kind of interesting unit here, the Super Saiyan Trio from Part 1 of the Worldwide Celebration campaign, and also I guess Carnival of Broly too. I'll put both of them right here. Both of them, I love these units so much, right? Both of them, for different reasons, I love them, because I guess we'll talk about Z Broly. So, for me, the best form of Z Broly is the first Broly, right? The first Broly movie. I think a lot of people agree with that, but I mean, when it comes to Carnival of Broly, he is so fun. What he's capable of doing, being in his base form, going into the transformation, everything, the OSTs, the animations, his kit, the teams he can be on, I mean, they're everything. Every single thing. Broly is so fun. So, I'm so happy to have the unit. I use him a lot, especially with movie bosses, obviously, because he's a 200% leader for that. But he is such a fantastic unit. So, yeah, I definitely love using him. The physical Super Saiyan Trio, I love using them too, but for a different reason. And the reason is kind of obvious, but it's pretty much because they just make so many other units better. And I appreciate that so much. Maybe a bit more now than a lot of other people, especially after all the recent boss updates and everything, but the trio, they do so much, and I appreciate them so much for what they're capable of doing, because they make so many irrelevant characters and units relevant in some capacity once again, and just thinking about that is so crazy. But, you know, just like Glorio, providing that defensive support for them specifically, you know, that makes them such a fun unit, such a reliable unit for helping others become more durable, like the EZA Super Vegito and everything. So I really do, I respect the unit so much, I love them so much, their animations are clean, it's fan-freaking-tastic for sure. Topo, for me, gonna go ahead into the nice/good tier. Not gonna really, like, you know, praise Topo too much. He's a fun unit, especially in Universe 11. But like, when he first came, it was like whatever for me. I wasn't that high on Topo. Once Jiren came into play, then I was like, okay, Topo is like returning to value for me, and like to another level of value, because now the Jiren is here, Universe 11 is coming together, everything's working out. But before that, Topo wasn't exactly, you know, my favorite unit. So now he's gotten a bit more love because of Universe 11 and everything, but, you know, still, he's not that cool for me as a character. I've never really liked Topo that much with the whole justice kind of thing. I'm like, whatever, okay, like, okay, cool, bro, you're a Power Ranger. We love it, okay. But like, you know, Topo, he's fine. He's okay. Buhan, okay, I'm not gonna lie. For me, in terms of the release timing, this is like a meh character in terms of that. But in terms of his gameplay, he is a nice, good character. Because, like, for me, I was like, okay, whatever, a new Buhan, I don't really care. Like, that's what I was feeling when he was being released. At the same time, he is a really fun unit. His animations are clean. The way his active skill works is so cool, even though it is kind of zesty, the way Buhan kind of, like, goes off and takes off his shirt and everything. But, you know, I mean, Buhan, besides that, you know, he's still a fun unit. His domain is pretty cool, of course, you know, with the Buu body and everything. But yeah, I mean, this unit is pretty fun, of course. You know, I wouldn't say like I'm that high on Buhan for sure because I don't use him that often and like I don't really need to. But you know, he's still there, so it's nice, of course. Tech Vegeta. Tech Vegeta, I may be getting a bit of flack for this one. I'm going to put him at the near bottom of the nice and good tier. Again, this is not ordered, but I just feel like I want to put him down here. Maybe a bit higher, actually. Let me put him right here. Because the Big Bang Attack Vegeta is such a cool moment, and the unit is really fire for the same day choice and everything. But at the same time, like, okay, this is going to be a bit of a shot at myself. I was not the biggest fan of Vegeta's Big Bang Attack moment, even though it was a massive W for Vegeta in the story. It's like whatever to me, like in comparison to other moments for him, like Final Atonement, which is like an easy go-to. Even him just like, you know, throughout like the whole Majin Buu saga, of course, you know, Majin Vegeta in general, you know, going through the whole #1 with Kakarot and everything, like those are all better moments for me. So I like Vegeta, of course, you know, the Sunday Vegeta choice is like really dope, but you know, it like Big Bang Attack was nice and everything. The unit is nice and everything. I just don't come back to using the unit. It's a bit of a shame that he's kind of aging out, so those things kind of hold him back for me as well. So there are some things to consider, but for me, he's still nice and fun and everything. I wish I had a copy of him, of course, but yeah, I mean, I think that's a perfectly kind of nice spot for him for me personally. All right, next up, LR Gohan / Piccolo. Okay, for me, I'm going to put them in the fine but wanted more category. Now, there's a weird way to kind of think about this because starting off as a Kid Gohan would allow what is good about this unit is because they start off as Kid Gohan, they can be in Hybrid Saiyans, they can be in Goku's family and other, you know, categories like that. But also, they're no longer in Namekians, and that's something that does kind of bother me because this is supposed to be the moment when Piccolo comes into play, you know, to fight second form Frieza. He's supposed to be the guy, and we're starting off with Kid Gohan. And Kid Gohan had his moments versus Frieza for sure, but I wanted this LR to be specifically Piccolo only, and we're not getting that, so that's kind of annoying. You know, the unit himself is not that great, especially because they're supposed to be a Planet Namek Saga type of unit. I love Planet Namek Saga, so I was hoping they would make things different, and they really didn't. You know, the category is still not really touched on by a lot of players, so it's disappointing, and, you know, this unit, they definitely let me down when it comes to that for sure. Okay, so we have them there. We have the Namek Saga Vegeta, or not Namek Saga, or yeah, Namek Saga Vegeta. I don't know why. I was thinking I was saying like Namek Saiyan Saga or something. It was weird. But Namek Saga Vegeta, Dirty Fireworks Vegeta. Actually, I'm trying to think of where I want to put him. I'm going to put him in the fine but wanted more category as well. I mean, it's the same thing as like the LR Gohan / Piccolo, where once we saw it was a Planet Namek Saga unit, I was stoked. I was thinking this is the time where we're going to get all of the greatness of Planet Namek Saga returning once again, and Omatsu just basically slapped me across the face and just like completely just like punched me across the room, because these two units in particular, they were just so disappointing from what I wanted them to be capable of, and I think that's what really bothers me is I had such high expectations and hopes for Planet Namek Saga through these units, and they let me down. They're okay, they're fun, you know, Vegeta's decent, but they're just not good enough, and, you know, they're not fun enough, you know, for units that I want to run, you know, they're not on the best of teams that I would like to run, so those things kind of prevent them from being enjoyable for me compared to a lot of other units at this point in time. Dokkan Fest, First Form Frieza, right? This is the Frieza who destroyed Planet Vegeta. He is, I think, one of the peak definitions of fine but wanted more, because this is such a dope moment, right? This is a massive moment actually in the story of Dragon Ball, because he eliminates the Saiyan race, you know, all the moments that are there. The OST, by the way, for the active skill is insane. Like, it's actually insane. But when it comes to this unit, I mean, he's just not that great. And to be fair, it's not entirely his fault. The fault also lies in the fact that a lot of these other units don't coincide with what Frieza wants from his whole kind of kit design. But at the same time, you know, Frieza is still there. He's still a unit. He himself could have been the one to make the categories that he's on better, and he didn't do enough. So we have to hold him against that for what it is. So yeah, fine, but wanted more from him for freaking sure. Wish he had more in him. Lord Slug. You know, the GOAT Namekian right there, in my opinion. Not really. But Lord Slug is going to go into the nice good category for me. Actually, you know, do I... Okay, I'm debating here, because Lord Slug, for me, he's a unit that I love to use all the time, especially on Demonic Power. But at the same time, I don't love him as a character. He's like a whatever kind of character to me. But the fact that he's just so strong and so good on the certain teams, I just love him for what he's capable of in-game. So I'm kind of debating here. You know what? Let me go ahead and put him in the I love them tier. I think that's perfectly fine, whatever. Because I enjoy using Slug. I love using Slug a lot, especially on demonic power with characters like Glorio and other characters like Beast Gohan. So it's perfectly fine for me. I enjoy Slug a lot. You know what he's capable of. His active skill is whatever, but his damage output, even at 55% for me, it is insane. It is insane what he's capable of. So I'm really stoked to have him in the game. I'm stoked to have him personally on my account, and he's just been a blast to use. Alrighty, last two. So, we got Master Roshi and Int Majin Buu. Definitely the two peak choices for the end of this whole kind of tier list right here. But Master Roshi, he's going to go in the meh tier for me. I think this is like what I was saying with like Ginyu, where it was like obvious to me, like Roshi is the end of July Dokkan Fest. He's the final Dokkan Fest between Tannenbaum Celebration and Worldwide Celebration, so he's like a whatever type of unit. So because of that, he's like a meh type of character to me. Now, I like Master Roshi. I'm not the biggest fan of Master Roshi. He's kind of obviously he's a weirdo. He's a freaky kind of person right there. But at the same time, you know, Roshi's fun. You know, he's got some interesting kind of designs in his kit. I just don't like him though for a couple of things. One is that he's so niche in what you want to use him in, and even then, I wouldn't say that he and that team that he wants to be run with, which is like Peppy Gal / Turtle School, I wouldn't say it's that good where I'm happy to use it. So because of those different things, I'm like, whatever, like I have Roshi, but I would probably tell you guys that I don't think I've used Roshi more than maybe 10 or 15 times total in an actual game, in like a gameplay setting. So that's that kind of says a lot, I think, for me personally in terms of Roshi's kind of like value for me compared to all of these other units. Alright, lastly, Int Buu. Okay, Int Buu, yeah, he's gonna go in the nice good tier for me. Same thing with like Riku, where like he's a fun unit. I like him. His OSTs, I will say, I like his OSTs a lot more actually compared to Riku, but like he's not the best unit, of course, you know, so that kind of is annoying to me. There are a lot of times where he gets cooked until like the fight takes like 10 or 20 turns, in which case he's like the best unit of all time type of feeling. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a good spot for Int Buu. I think, you know, Int Buu, he's a really fun, powerful, dynamic unit. He fits onto a lot of interesting categories like Majin Buu Saga once again. So I think that's perfectly fine. Of course, you know, I can't really hate on Buu too much because he's a really fun unit. I use him a lot when I can. So yeah, I think that's perfectly fine. And there you go. That is going to be how we have the tier list set up. So let's go ahead and count this down. So we have 10 units right here in the I love them category, 10 right here, of course. So that's 20, 25, 28 major releases in 2024. That is crazy. And we obviously didn't talk about side banner units. We didn't talk about easy A's or super easy A's. I want to avoid those types of units because we've seen them in the game before. Like the side banner units, they're not important necessarily, but you know, still 28 major releases is insane for sure. And I think I'm actually pretty satisfied with this list for, of course, you know, Glorio, you know, Diamond characters, all these characters. I enjoy using them. They're so cool as far as characters are concerned for the most part, so I enjoy them nice and good. You know, again, they are almost there, but they're just not quite there for me. Fine, but wanted more. Again, this is basically, I can probably just retype this as disappointment. Actually, I'm not going to do that, but I could retype that as just like the disappointment category, and that's pretty much like an accurate description for a couple of these units. Maybe not Triku. Triku I think is a bit better, but yeah, I mean, I think that's perfectly fine right there. And then meh, like these three specifically, I couldn't care less. If these guys were replaced with nothing, I may be okay with it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, because these characters, they didn't mean that much to me when they came out, so it is what it is. But there you go, that's how I have it set up. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Again, also let me know who is your favorite release in 2024 personally. And if you like the vid, be sure to like the vid, of course, subscribe to the channel, show your support, obviously, as we head into the 10th anniversary. And yeah, that's gonna be the end for the vid. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.